Okay, so we're gonna take a look at this ICE memo that just got leaked. I have no idea what's in it. I don't know if it's in relation to the recent shooting or something else, but Law and Crime is taking a look at it, so we're gonna watch with them. Let's see.
If you know two things about criminal procedure, one is probably you have the right to remain silent, and the other is you need a warrant to enter someone's house and arrest them. But according to a secret leaked ICE legal memorandum, ICE thinks that they can just enter your house and arrest you without any criminal procedure whatsoever. It's 2026, people, and the Constitution is optional, apparently. And that should scare absolutely everyone. There are very few things in the Constitution that are more clear than this. That the government can't break into your home without a warrant signed by a judge. Because under King George, the tyrant that we rebelled against, British officers used what were called general warrants to barge into colonist homes without judicial approval. The Fourth Amendment was written to make sure that no government could ever do that again. So naturally, in the year of our Lord 2026, we decided to do exactly that again. So how did we get here? Well, Whistleblower Aid, a non-profit legal organization, represents two anonymous government officials who have revealed a very secretive and highly unconstitutional policy directive issued by ICE in May of 2025. And it looks like there was an actual cover-up to make sure that this memo didn't see the light of day. One of the whistleblowers within ICE had been allowed to view the memo only in the presence of a supervisor and then had to give it back. That person was not allowed to take notes. A totally legal thing when you're trying to train people on what is and is not constitutionally permissible. A second whistleblower was able to access the memo and lawfully disclose it to Congress through counsel. The whistleblower report and a copy of the memo were leaked to the public. So now we have access to a copy of this internal ICE memo that tells officers they can forcibly enter homes and make arrests using only an administrative warrant rather than a warrant actually signed by a judge. That distinction matters because under the Fourth Amendment, those two pieces of paper are not interchangeable. In fact, while they share parts of the same name, they're about as similar as a French horn and a shoehorn. Now, an administrative warrant isn't really a warrant as we normally think about it. It's an internal agency document signed by someone who works within the agency instead of a judge from the judiciary branch, which authorizes an arrest for an immigration violation. That administrative warrant allows someone to be arrested, but that's really it. It lets you arrest someone on public property, but it doesn't give them the right to make a forced entry into a private residence. In contrast, judicial warrants must be signed by a judge and specify who or what ICE is seeking. No one is obligated to answer the door for ICE or allow agents into a home unless they have a judicial warrant. But of course, we keep seeing ICE agents forcibly entering homes without any warrant at all and without consent. And we've also seen DHS officers trying to pass off administrative warrants as judicial warrants. In fact, this just happened to Chong Lee Scott Tao, an American citizen from St. Paul. ICE agents burst into his home without showing a judicial warrant while searching for two other people, handcuffed him in front of his grandson, and detained him outside in freezing temperatures wearing only underwear and a blanket. They eventually released him hours after they discovered he was not the target. So if you were wondering just where does ICE get off thinking that it has the right to do this, well, it's not just rogue agents. They apparently wrote this down and trained people on it. Yes, they're being told it's legal. Now, the government may not care about your rights or your privacy, but if you do, now is probably a good time to wipe all of your personal and private information off the internet.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a scary time in America. It really is. And I mean, so I've made a few videos already reacting to like the shootings that have been happening with ICE. And I think it's fairly clear where I stand on that, which is don't go interfering with a bunch of armed officers in any circumstance. I would say the smartest thing that you can do is just do your best to avoid them as much as possible, whether you are a citizen or a non-citizen or anything like that. It just obviously from what's happening in the news, it just does not look like it's going to end well, and it does not look like the people have the upper hand here. So your best just staying out of the way. That's my thought. Whether or not the shootings will be adjudicated as judicial or extrajudicial or right or wrong or whatever, I don't know. That's up for the courts and a jury and stuff to decide if it ever gets to that point. But as far as this stuff is concerned, yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a new wave of lawfare happening in America, right? And it looks like it's from both sides, but largely if it's government overreach. So that much I would concede for sure. If it is that people are being allowed to, if it is that ICE agents are overstepping their legal boundaries and forcing themselves into people's homes illegally, then they might have a lot of lawsuits on their hands later on. I mean, who knows with the state, if those will ever amount to anything. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it's rough in America, uh, and I mean, it must be very scary. I could imagine it would be very, very, very scary if you are someone who is uh, on the edge of, uh, what do you call it? Your civil rights at all. If you are an immigrant, if you are a naturalized citizen, if you're any type of thing. I mean, I would be so scared, so scared, man. Also, maybe this is only happening in some parts of America, and for the most part, people are just going about their day as well. That's another thing that we always have to remember, that with news, there's always this sensationalism. So it could well just be that most people are just living life as normal, and these are only things that are happening in like hot spots around America and being blown up to seem like this is what's going on in all of America as well. But regardless, yo, just keep yourself safe and do not interfere with the ICE officers. Do not mess with them. If my thing is, if they violate your rights, fine. You may well have a lawsuit on your hands later on, and you may, I don't know, come into some money at some point. It may work out for you, but it's not gonna work out for you if you fight them, because they have guns and there's a lot of them, and they're being supported by the state. So, not a very fair fight right now. That's just my thought.
Your cell phone number.